Hello, welcome to Record Time. Record Time is a weekly Akashic experience where we explore simple and mysterious themes through the lens of the Akashic Records. My name is Mina. I'm so happy to be here with you. And yeah, I'm excited to hear what the records have to share with us this week. So let's get into it. As I'm tuning into the records, you're welcome to take a deep breath. And if it feels good, you could even close your eyes for a moment if it's safe, if it's accessible. Just allow your body to relax as much as it's able to as we settle in to receive from the records. So the keepers of the records are asking us, are you trying to force a feeling? Are you trying to force a feeling? And this is so open-ended that, if it resonates, it could apply to any aspect of your life, like a feeling that you might have towards anything that's happening. And it's also, if it doesn't immediately strike you as like, ooh, yeah, like, ooh, that feels familiar, or ooh, that question feels potent or relevant right now. It's also a nice question that's just like a temperature check, something to just come back to, especially when you might be feeling disconnected from your emotions or feeling overwhelmed by your emotions or even uncertain how you're feeling. It's just a good temperature check of, am I trying to force a feeling? And this question and the use of the word force it can go a couple different ways. So, as they say, are you trying to force a feeling? And again, this is intentionally open-ended. They're not talking about forcing a feeling around a specific thing. It could be anything. Are you trying to force a feeling? One way to kind of relate to this is, are you trying to force yourself to feel a certain way? We've talked about this before. Are you trying to force yourself to be grateful? Are you trying to force yourself to be happy? Are you trying to force yourself to be calm? Whatever it is. Usually it's like trying to force a good feeling into your reality or into your emotional space. But you can also relate to this question, be with this question in a different way, which is, are you trying to force a feeling out? And those, like, of course, kind of go together. So it's like if you are trying to force a feeling in, right? Trying to force gratitude in, trying to force joy in, trying to force calmness in, the natural counter to that is there an emotion that you're trying to force out to try to like cover up with whatever the good or preferred feeling is to kind of suppress or force out the other feeling? Are you trying to like yeah, basically squish the other one out by pushing a new one in? This is kind of like the imagery and and the way you could think of it. I'm almost seeing like an icing bag. If you've ever decorated a cake and you're switching colors, it's like switching, like squeezing all perhaps the blue icing out so the like purple icing can start coming through, or green, or whatever colors you like. So it's like, are you trying to like shove like green or purple icing over the blue and squeeze all the blue out? That way you can have the preferred feeling. So it's like, are you trying to squeeze one emotion out by flooding yourself with another one, forcing another emotion in? I hope that that made sense. Um, but with this kind of imagery, this is an interesting question to sit with because it has this natural kind of like duality to it, so to speak. And what they're asking you, right? So it's like this first piece is, are you trying to force a feeling? Force something in or force something out? The second question is, how's that going for you? And it is kind of like a tentative, second inquiry is like, how's that going? Is it like, are you having a good time? Is it working out for you? Is it not working well for you? They're kind of anticipating that it probably is not going great because forcing a feeling, if you've tried it, is difficult and it actually requires tons of energy to maintain if you're able to do it. And so what they're offering in this question really is just deep permission. They're asking us to notice if we're forcing a feeling in or out so that we can kind of receive this permission that we can just feel how we feel. And accompanying the feeling that is actually here, it could be that there's a sense of guilt or uncertainty or shame or something. There could be like even a dissociated sense around this. It feels like kind of at the root of this tendency to force a feeling, which I've done many times. I'm not excluded from this technique, if you will. And sometimes we kind of have no choice. We have to just get through something, and so we just force ourselves to look on the bright side or do a gratitude list or whatever it is to help us get us through the moment. And at some point, it is, I find, helpful to come back to what we were trying to squish, come back to the blue icing or whatever sitting underneath whatever we just put on top to get us through the moment. And it could be that, yeah, we just had to get ourselves through something. It could be that we just don't want to feel that thing. And what they're asking, right? So they're asking us to notice if we're doing this. Then they're giving us permission to feel whatever's there. And then this third kind of layer of this thing is of this inquiry is to notice, like, is that feeling wrapped up in something else? Is it coated with guilt or discomfort or disgust or shame? Where it's like, and I'll give some examples where it's like, actually what's underneath this is, yeah, guilt. Like I shouldn't be feeling happy when someone I love or someone around me, the people around me aren't feeling happy. So it could be that we're actually trying to suppress a good feeling with some anger or empathy or sadness or whatever to match whatever everyone else is feeling. But actually, in your own internal organic state, you're actually feeling content or happy or whatever, or just calm. So it could be, it doesn't have to be that you're squishing a bad feeling with a good feeling. It could be, the other way around. And it could be motivated by guilt and a desire to just match the vibe that's around you. And so what they're doing with that is like, again, notice, are you forcing a feeling? Two, allow yourself to receive the permission to be with whatever feeling is actually there. The third piece is there anything around that that's actually making it hard to get to the core feeling? So yeah, it could be guilt for feeling a certain way that feels inappropriate. It could be, yeah, the shame of like, oh, this isn't the correct feeling to have. I shouldn't be feeling this way. And in that like coding, if there's something inhibiting the feeling and the resonance of whatever that core feeling is, it could be that it's surrounded by shoulds. I shouldn't be feeling this way. This is not the appropriate feeling to feel. I should be feeling that way. I shouldn't be feeling this. I should be feeling that. And so to notice that, it could be, yeah, just like this, I think really at the core, it's like, I shouldn't be feeling this. I should be feeling something else. And so really at the core of that, it's like, it's a judgment. perhaps? Are you judging the feeling that's actually there as inappropriate or wrong or bad, unacceptable? That's that's the query. Is there a judgment of an emotion because it doesn't feel like it's the correct, appropriate, or acceptable response to have to whatever, to whatever is happening, to whatever you just happen to be feeling? And if you find that that's the case, if there's a judgment or a resistance of any kind to feeling the emotion that's there, again, the next layer is it's okay to feel how you feel. And what they're offering us in that moment, inside that judgment, inside the resistance, inside of all of this like very layered experience, emotional experience that we might be having, is it doesn't have to mean anything. Your emotion doesn't have to mean anything about you. It doesn't have to mean that you're not compassionate. Maybe you heard the cat meow in the background. It doesn't have to mean anything about yourself. It doesn't mean that you're a good person or a bad person to be feeling a certain way. It doesn't mean that feeling optimistic makes you a good person and not feeling optimistic in the moment makes you a bad person, or the other way around. And so inside the judgment, and there's also a recognition that, that doesn't make it go away. It doesn't make the judgment go away. And it's easy to say, just don't judge yourself and don't judge your emotions. And it's like, well, what do we actually do with that? So they're offering us the sense of permission from our beloved Akashic Records. They're offering us a reminder that your emotions, what you feel in the moment, doesn't actually mean anything about you or your character or your beingness. It just so happens that there's an emotion present, and it doesn't have to mean anything about you. And it feels like there's one more thing. Let me sit with that for a moment. Inside that first piece of permission, and it doesn't have to mean anything. So if we are able to just hold that even lightly, even if we can't take that permission to feel however we feel, or if we can't really know deeply that it doesn't mean anything about us, if we can just touch into it lightly and kind of mix them up, there's this like seed and almost like a blanketing of acceptance that even in the tangle of this messy kind of emotional state we might be experiencing at any moment in time, you are beloved and deeply accepted by the records, by your spiritual team, by your deep self. So even if you're forcing a feeling, even if there's resistance and judgment about the actual feeling, and you feel like there's something wrong, you're judging yourself, you're judging the emotion, you're making it mean something, there might be a story. Even if there's all of that happening, you are still deeply loved. You are completely accepted in that very messy, very natural human experience of emotionality. So maybe the permission and that reminder that it doesn't have to mean anything about you, maybe that will help you soften and release some of the judgment and help you connect to the core feeling. And maybe it won't. Maybe that judgment will still be there, and maybe it'll actually be like, oh God, now there's shame because I'm judging myself and I shouldn't be judging myself. And even if that happens, you are still loved, you are still deeply accepted, and it's okay. However you're feeling is okay. If you have a sense that you can't get your emotions right, and if you can't get it to be where it is and you can't force yourself to feel the right thing or whatever it is, it's okay. The records still love you. Your spirit team, the universe still loves you. Your deep self, your soul still loves you. And it's okay to be human. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you for today. And really, the like part that I'm just cherishing and really enjoying about this is that there is no solution and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to change anything that you're doing. If you're forcing a feeling, you don't have to stop doing that. If you're judging yourself, you don't have to stop doing that. All that they're offering is wherever you're at, with whatever emotions you are or aren't sitting with, you are deeply loved. Thank you so much for being here. I'm wishing you well. Until next time. Namaste.